Well, the Elkhart County 4-H Fair is in the heart of Amish country and is one of the largest county fairs in the entire country. It started in Goshen in 1851 on the courthouse square. Over the years, it has grown and now has more than 70 buildings on its nearly 400-acre fairgrounds. More than 4,000 Elkhart County youth are involved in 4-H, displaying some 8,000 projects at the fair every year. Well, it's time now for a special edition of The Insiders. Elkhart has been stepping up its game when it comes to workforce development, quality of place initiatives, and really promoting as a region. What's driving these initiatives? Let's ask and take the pulse of the community with a great panel of insiders, and also take a few questions from a studio audience assembled here as well. Pleased to be joined for this first session of The Insiders by Horizon Education Alliance Executive Director Brian Wiebe. Also, Ivy Tech Elkhart Campus Executive Director Kyle Hannon, and Greater Elkhart Chamber of Commerce President and CEO LaVon Johnson. And gentlemen, welcome to the program and the Insiders.
Thanks for having me.
Glad that you're here. I want to get all of your takes just quickly off the top. In terms of, I'll start with you, Kyle, in terms of the economy here in Elkhart, things seem to be very strong. Unemployment at historically low levels. You know, 10 years ago was a different story. There was a lot of challenge in the community. The recession creating some challenges. Things have turned around in a big way.
Absolutely. I mean, again, and even at the time when the unemployment was really, really high, there was a good sense in the community that it was not permanent, and people stuck around. People they worked really hard, and here we are, leading the country in economic growth. And I think that says a lot about the community, and it's really not surprising to the community itself, but it's still nice to see. Yeah.
LaVon, you're relatively new to the chamber job, came from Elkhart schools as well, the school background. Your take, your sense for the economy here in Elkhart?
Well, I think Kyle is absolutely right. 10 years ago, I think one of the great benefits is in this community is, as opposed to everybody picking up and leaving, we had companies that were hit hard, but they doubled down. Not so much for the business, but because they believed in the people in this community. It was a sense that we're going to come out of this, we're going to figure out how to come out of it. And I think a theme that we've all talked about that you're going to hear over and over again was really a collaborative feeling of we're going to do this together. Even businesses that were in competition with one another, we're working together to figure out how to come back and be on this side of it.
Interesting. And Brian, I know the Horizon Education Alliance is really a byproduct of both the recession and that collaborative spirit, shall we say.
Yeah, the reason it came together, the vision for it really 2008-9, it was because the really economic turbulence that we had, the community said we need to address that. Education is always the right investment, and workforce is one of those important things, hoping that eventually it really stabilizes the economy, diversifies the economy because the talent pool is there.
Brian, talk about the Alliance and the things specifically that you're doing to get at that whole talent issue.
Well, I think especially in a climate like now when businesses are thriving, so they need more employees. First of all, I think we realize it's a long-term effort, and so we do things all the way back to early childhood, engage parents, do those things, some elementary school things, but a lot of immediate work happening right now. Starting like 8th grade, all three of us have worked together on manufacturing days that every single 8th grader this fall will see 2 manufacturing plants. But it goes up into some junior apprenticeships in high schools, all high schools working together, and then really a lot of adult education workforce, just trying to get some of the credentials that businesses need and find ways that that all the partners can work on that together.
What is online when it comes to aligning with the workforce?
And that's really kind of our interest all the time, is being aligned with what the businesses need. Supply chain and logistics is a growing thing. We have a program in that now. Also, Elkhart County was ranked #1 in terms of robots per employee, which was a great thing. Well, we have a robotics program that we're trying to make sure that we're able to help people meet the skills that are needed, the skills that are out there.
Yeah. From a chamber standpoint, from an economic development standpoint, LaVon, what are the big selling points? What's the story that you go out and give out there when recruiting folks?
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about, again, when you go back to the collaboration and you talk about the partnerships that have come about in an environment, I can remember sitting in a meeting in the state and talking about program that all 5 chambers in the county were working on, HEA, Ivy Tech, EDC, and the businesses that it bought in, and people looked at me like, you know, I had a third eye or something like that. Like, how did you get everybody, how did everybody get together around this? But that piece is so very important, and it says a lot to businesses that are looking to relocate here. It says a lot to the current workers that are here, and especially in a time where you're looking at a wide range where we're working on K-12 education and we're trying to skill folks up. But the other piece to that is we also have to play in a world that the jobs that, you know, that are going to exist for our kindergartners, a lot of them don't even exist yet. And so how do you continue to train knowing that that's in mind?
Yeah. Well, I see we have a question from the audience. Sir, if you could say your name and fire away.
Sure. Doug Waite with Waite Industries. And as a recent new business owner in the area of a small business, how can we make it easier for a small business to engage and grab the resources that you have?
Recently, we've been putting a lot of energy into sector partnerships, and it's where a lot of owners of smaller businesses come together. And when you put those together, we may not have an IBM that can just dictate everything that they need, but when a number of small business owners come together, so 11 came together. That was a recent submission to Skill Up Indiana, which we won, largest grant our region did. And that's where a lot of partners are working together to offer some of those apprenticeships where, even though your HR department isn't so big, you put those all together and you can actually get that done.
Very good. Have another question from the audience, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Joanna King. I'm a wife, a mother, and I'm involved in our local school system. And one of the questions I have is we look to educate our students. We're continually trying to educate kids for a job that hasn't even been created yet. How do we do that?
I'd start by saying, Joanna, some of those transferable skills, one of them we're all trying to work on here, collaboration. If students can learn that, these are skills that employers are always going to want. You can add to that creativity and critical thinking. Project-based learning kind of pulls those skills out in K-8 students and high school students. So I think we have to do that.
Very good. Great question and great questions from the audience. And a great Insiders, first edition of the Insiders panel. Brian Wiebe is Executive Director of the Horizon Education Alliance. LaVon Johnson, CEO of the Greater Elkhart Chamber of Commerce. And Kyle Hannon, Executive Director at Ivy Tech Elkhart. Thank you all for being here.